I'm the kind of guy who says yes too fast because I hate making things awkward. It's not bravery, it's not kindness, it's just a reflex from years of office politics. Smile, keep it light, don't be difficult. And that's exactly why what happened at our company party still makes my stomach tighten when I think about it. Because the favor she asked for was tiny, so small it sounded stupid to even hesitate. And then 20 minutes later, I was staring at my screen, watching an admin session I didn't start, with my name on it. It was a Friday, end a quarter, the kind of week where everyone's running on bad sleep and the promise of a night with free drinks and forced laughter. Our office rented out the back room of a decent bar a few blocks away. Nothing wild, just a place with soft lighting. Appetizers nobody touched, and that one executive who always insisted on giving a toast, even though nobody asked. I work in IT operations, mostly access management, internal tools, permission reviews, the unglamorous stuff that keeps a company from accidentally handing the keys to the building to the wrong person. I'm not some hacker. I'm not a genius. I'm just the guy who gets pulled in when someone says, "Hey, why can't I see this folder?" Or "Who approved this access?" And because of that, people assume I know everything. They assume I can just fix it, which means at parties, I don't really get to be off the clock. Somebody always wanders over with a drink and a grin and says, "Quick question." That night, it was her. Maya was in my department, technically. Same floor, different team. She wasn't a villain in a movie. She was the kind of coworker who laughed at the right moments, complimented your shoes, and somehow made every conversation feel like you were slightly behind, like she'd read the memo you missed. We'd been circling the same promotion track for months, not officially competing, but close enough that you could feel it in meetings. Our manager would say things like, "We need someone who can be trusted with sensitive access," and Maya would nod like she was already wearing the badge. At the party, she showed up late, looking like she'd stepped out of a LinkedIn headshot. She hugged three people she didn't like, made a joke to the director, then slid right into my space like we were friends. "Hey," she said, holding up her phone. "I hate to bother you here, but can I ask you a tiny favor?" I should have said no. Not because the request sounded dangerous, because it didn't. I should have said no because it was a party, because alcohol and systems don't mix, because anything involving access deserves daylight and a ticket number. But she said it with that tone that implies you're weird if you refuse. "What's up?" I asked. She turned her screen toward me. It was our internal portal, the one employees use to request permissions and software. On the surface, it's harmless. Beneath it, it touches everything. Groups, roles, approvals, audit trails. "I'm locked out of submitting an access request," she said. "It keeps erroring. I'm on my phone and the VPN is being dumb. Can you just check if my account is glitching? Like, confirm it's not me? I promise it'll take 2 seconds." It sounded plausible. Our mobile VPN was always acting up, and it wasn't like she asked me to grant her anything, just check. I pulled my laptop out because I'm an idiot who carries his laptop everywhere. I told myself it was fine because I wasn't going to do anything. Just look, confirm, move on. There's this unspoken rule in our company. If you're IT, your devices are treated like extensions of you. People hover, they watch, they assume you're doing magic, and normally I'm careful about that. I angle my screen away, I lock it if I stand up. I don't let anyone touch it, even if they're just scrolling. But we were in a loud back room with music, and someone bumped my chair, and Maya leaned in closer than she needed to, pointing at my screen as if she was helping me find something. "See? It's right there," she said, tapping the air. I clicked into the portal, opened the admin side panel, just to check her profile status. My work account has elevated access to view account health and permission request logs. Not full control over everything, but enough that I can see who's stuck and why. Maya watched my hands the entire time. I'm used to that. What I wasn't used to was how calm she looked, like she wasn't frustrated at all, like she was waiting for something. "Can I just—" she started and reached toward the keyboard. It was casual, too casual, like someone reaching for the salt. "No," I said automatically, with a small laugh to soften it. "I've got it." She pulled her hand back, still smiling. "Right. Sorry. Habit." I remember thinking, that was weird. But I didn't push it. People do weird things when they're drinking. I found her account in the system. It didn't look locked. No password resets. No error flags. I clicked her request history. Everything normal. I was about to tell her it was probably the VPN when my phone buzzed. My manager asking where I was because he wanted to introduce me to someone from finance. I glanced down for half a second, long enough for the human brain to break focus. When I looked up, Maya's body had shifted. She wasn't touching my laptop, but she was close enough that her hair brushed my shoulder. She angled her phone slightly, thumb moving fast, like she was typing a message. "Okay," I said, closing the panel. "Your account seems fine. It's probably the VPN on mobile. Try on your laptop Monday. If it's still broken, I'll open a ticket." Her smile tightened in a way I didn't register at the time. "Yeah," she said. "Monday." "Sure." Then she walked away like nothing happened. I should have closed my laptop right then. I should have locked it. Instead, I did what I always do. I tried to be normal. I followed my manager, shook hands, listened to small talk about budgets and headcount, forced myself to laugh at a joke that wasn't funny. And somewhere in the background of all that, my laptop sat on a high-top table behind me, lid half open, still connected to the internal network through my corporate hotspot. At 9:47 p.m., my phone buzzed again, this time not a text, a security notification. "New privilege session detected." The words were bland, automated, the kind you usually ignore because they're triggered by routine admin actions. But my stomach dropped anyway because I hadn't initiated a new session. I hadn't done anything since I closed the panel with Maya. I excused myself, walked back to the table, and opened my laptop fully. The portal was still up, not on the employee side, on the admin side, and the session indicator in the corner was green, active, authenticated, my credentials, my access, moving through menus like someone had been there moments ago. I didn't confront her. That was my first real decision. Every instinct told me to march across the room, grab Maya by the elbow, and ask her what the hell she thought she was doing. But years in corporate environments teach you something important. The moment you make it personal, you lose control of the narrative. So I did the opposite. I closed the laptop. I locked it. And I acted like nothing was wrong. The rest of the party blurred together. I nodded through conversations, accepted a drink I didn't want, and left early with a polite excuse about an early morning. In my head, though, things were already lining up. Not dramatically, methodically. When I got home, I didn't open Netflix. I didn't pace. I logged back in. Admin portals don't lie. They don't care about intentions or excuses. They care about timestamps, IPs, device fingerprints, session duration. Every click leaves a mark. Every hesitation is recorded. The session history showed activity starting exactly 30 seconds after my phone buzzed with my manager's message. Navigation paths I hadn't taken, menus I had no reason to open, a failed attempt to elevate permissions beyond view only, flagged automatically, denied by policy, and then the detail that made my jaw tighten. The device identifier wasn't mine. The session originated from my account, yes, but the interaction pattern didn't match my keyboard. The cadence was different, faster, sloppier. Someone unfamiliar with the interface, moving quickly, like they were afraid of being noticed. Someone using a touchscreen. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling for a long time. Not angry, not yet. Just tired in that specific way that comes from realizing someone decided you were expendable. Monday morning, Maya acted like nothing had happened. She was early, coffee in hand, cheerful. She stopped by my desk to tell me the VPN magically fixed itself and thanked me again for being so helpful. Loud enough for 2 other people to hear. That's when the irritation really set in, because now it wasn't just about access. It was about framing. about planting a version of events where she was the responsible one and I was the helpful background character. Later that day, in a team sync, she casually mentioned how confusing the permission request system was, how some people had more access than they realized, how mistakes could happen if controls weren't tighter. She didn't look at me when she said it. She didn't have to. I pulled the logs again during lunch. No new activity, but the audit trail from Friday was already immutable, locked, time-stamped. The system had done its job, quietly, impartially. Still, I said nothing. That restraint cost me. By Wednesday, a rumor started floating that there had been an access incident. Nothing formal, just whispers, questions phrased as jokes, a manager asking if everything was stable on the back end. Maya leaned into it beautifully. She offered to help document processes, volunteered to be a point person for access reviews, positioned herself as proactive, concerned, reliable, the kind of person leadership loves when they think there's a problem, but don't yet know where it came from. Meanwhile, I was being careful, deliberate. I documented everything privately, saved copies of logs, wrote timelines, not because I planned to accuse her, but because I refused to be unprepared. And that's when I realized something that made my blood run cold. She wasn't trying to steal access. She was trying to make it look like I abused it. If the failed elevation attempt had succeeded, it would have been obvious. Too obvious. But a denied attempt, from my account, that planted doubt. It created a narrative where I looked careless at best, malicious at worst. All she had to do was wait for the right moment to ask the right question. That moment came faster than I expected. Thursday afternoon, my manager messaged me asking if I could hop on a quick call with him and someone from compliance. Casual wording, neutral tone, the kind that's supposed to make you relax. I joined the call on time. Camera on? Calm. The compliance officer asked about my responsibilities, about my access level, about whether I ever logged in outside business hours. Then she asked, "Do you recall initiating any privileged actions last Friday evening?" I answered honestly. No. There was a pause. Not awkward. Measured. My manager cleared his throat and said they'd noticed an anomaly tied to my account. Nothing serious, he assured me. Just something they had to look into. I thanked them for flagging it. Said I appreciated the diligence. Mentioned, carefully, that I'd noticed the same anomaly and had preserved the logs in case they were needed. That changed the temperature of the call. The compliance officer asked me to send everything I had. I did. Immediately. The call ended politely, professionally. An hour later, Maya stopped by my desk again. "Hey," she said softly, "random question. You didn't mention me when they asked about Friday, right?" I looked at her for a long second. Not accusing, not confused, just observant. "I mentioned facts," I said. "Nothing more." Her smile flickered. "Just once. I just don't want there to be any misunderstandings," she said. And that was the moment I knew she was scared. I didn't know it yet, but that decision, to stay quiet, to let the system speak instead of my emotions, had already taken this out of my hands. And once processes start moving, they don't stop for anyone. By Friday morning, the building felt different, quieter, not in a dramatic way, just enough that you notice when you've been paying attention. 2 people from InfoSec were on site. Not announced, not introduced. They didn't gather anyone into a room or send an email blast. They just showed up, badges clipped slightly higher than usual, laptops already open. That's how you know it's real. When there's no performance. Maya noticed them too. She hovered, offered coffee, laughed a little too loudly in conversation she wasn't part of. She kept glancing toward my desk, then away, like checking the weather. I kept working. That was the hardest part. Not reacting. Not filling the silence. Letting the process breathe. I answered tickets. Reviewed access requests. Declined one that didn't meet policy and documented why, like I always did. If anyone was watching, all they'd see was consistency. At 10:13 a.m., The system did exactly what it was designed to do. A secondary alert triggered, not on my account, but on hers. Here's the thing most people don't understand about admin systems. You don't need to hack anything to get caught. You just need to keep touching something after you shouldn't. Patterns matter more than success. Maya logged into the portal again. Same day. Same workstation. Same mobile device signature as Friday night. She wasn't trying to escalate access this time. She was trying to clean up, retrace steps, check whether anything stuck. That attempt auto-flagged her. The system correlated the touchscreen input patterns, same gesture timings, same device resolution, same behavior curve. 2 sessions, days apart, tied together by math that doesn't care about confidence or excuses. At 10:17, her account was temporarily restricted pending review. She stood up so fast her chair rolled back and hit the wall. "I think something's wrong with my access," she said, loud enough for 3 people to hear. "I just got kicked out of the system." One of the InfoSec analysts looked up from his screen, not surprised, not rushed. "Can you come with us for a moment?" he asked. Her face went pale, then flushed. "Is this about the thing on Friday? Because that wasn't—" He didn't let her finish. He didn't need to. They walked her into a conference room near the elevators. Glass walls, no blinds, no secrecy. That wasn't accidental. Transparency keeps people honest. 20 minutes later, my manager tapped my desk. "They're going to ask you a few clarifying questions," he said quietly. "You're not in trouble." I nodded. I already knew. Inside the room, they didn't accuse me of anything. They didn't raise their voices. They laid out a timeline and asked me to confirm what I could. Did I log in on Friday evening? Yes. Did I step away from my device? Briefly. Did anyone else have permission to use my credentials? No. Did I authorize any access changes? No. Then they showed me the screen, side-by-side session replays, my legitimate activity, and the other one. Watching it was surreal. Seeing my account move in ways I never would, hesitating where I wouldn't, opening menus I had no reason to open, failing in ways I wouldn't. One of the analysts said calmly, "This isn't skill. This is familiarity without authorization." I didn't smile. I didn't nod. I just confirmed the facts. When I stepped out, Maya was still in the room. Her voice was raised now, not yelling but pushing, trying to negotiate reality. She said it was a misunderstanding, that she'd just been curious, that she thought my laptop was still locked to her test environment, that she was trying to help. None of it lined up. The audit log showed her phone's MAC address, her device fingerprint, her follow-up access attempt that morning, her Slack message to a friend on Friday night, already pulled by legal, joking about how some people don't guard their stuff. That was the moment it tipped from violation to intent. At 2:46 p.m., HR joined the room. At 3:30, Maya left the office carrying a box that was much smaller than she probably imagined it would be. No scene, no tears, no goodbye tour, just quiet footsteps and a badge left on the desk. People whispered for a week. Rumors mutated. Some said she was framed. Some said it was politics. Some said nothing at all. I didn't correct anyone, because the truth didn't need defending. And as I shut down my laptop that evening, something finally settled in my chest. Not triumph, not revenge. Relief? They thought I was gone. I wasn't. The week after she left, everything slowed down, not in a suspicious way, in a procedural one. HR sent a short, neutral email. Maya is no longer with the company. Please direct any role-related questions to management. No explanations, no warnings, just a clean sentence and a quiet redistribution of responsibilities. That was it. No one asked me to make a statement. No one asked how I felt. No one congratulated me or apologized. And honestly, that was exactly how I wanted it. Because once an investigation ends, real companies don't turn it into theater. They move on, quickly, deliberately, like surgeons closing a wound. InfoSec wrapped their review by mid-week. They implemented 2 changes: stricter idle lock enforcement on admin sessions, and a reminder that elevated access was never to be used in social environments. The email went to everyone, not just me. That mattered. It reframed the incident as a systems lesson, not a personal failure. My manager called me into his office on Thursday. He didn't close the door dramatically. He didn't lower his voice. He just sat back, folded his hands, and said, "I want to be clear. You handled this exactly right." No praise, no emotion, just confirmation. He told me the promotion decision was still on track, that nothing about the incident reflected negatively on me, that if anything, my documentation and restraint had made things easier for everyone involved. I nodded, thanked him, left. That was the moment the tension finally broke. Not because she was gone, but because the story was finished. There were no loose ends, no appeals, no shadow consequences waiting to surface later. Legal had everything they needed. HR had closed the file. The audit trail was archived, immutable, boring, exactly what you want evidence to be. A few coworkers tested the waters casually. "Wild what happened, huh? Guess you never really know people." I'd have flipped out if that were me. I kept my answers short, non-committal. I didn't vent. I didn't relive it. The more calmly I responded, the faster the curiosity died. Because drama only survives when someone feeds it. A month later, I got the promotion. No speech, no announcement. Just an updated title in the system and access changes that came through properly. Approved, logged, verified, the way things are supposed to happen. The irony wasn't lost on me. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel like karma had swung a hammer. What I felt was something quieter and heavier. A shift in how I moved through the world. I stopped saying yes out of reflex. I stopped worrying about being difficult when the situation demanded boundaries. I stopped mistaking politeness for safety. Because the truth is, she didn't trap herself in one reckless moment. She trapped herself by believing that confidence could replace process, that proximity could replace permission, that charm could override systems built specifically to outlast people like her. All I did was not get in the way. I didn't expose her. I didn't confront her. I didn't retaliate. I trusted the logs. I trusted the timestamps. I trusted the quiet machinery that records everything, even when no one is watching. And when it was over, I shut my laptop, went home, and slept better than I had in months. Not because I won, but because I finally understood something most people learn too late. You don't need to fight when the truth is already keeping score.